Hi, well, welcome to A Fat Perspective. This is the podcast that is basically a place where we discuss all issues relating to all bodies and with a focus on fat bodies because that is the one that I have. And with me today, we have Kaleesha Washington, and I've seen this woman go from educator to educational leader and then to entrepreneur. So she is quite something.
So I am Kaleesha Washington. I'm your travel BFF. You can find me at yourtravelbff.com. And you'll see some of my blogs where I've written about some of my travels. You'll see some pictures, videos of my experiences. I share a lot. But you can also contact me directly from that website.
Not only are you just like a great human and you don't hold back, which I love, and you share your opinions straight up, but the one thing that I really wanted to talk to you about today was travel, because it's so interesting. I have a lot of people talk to me and they're like, hey, like, I'm afraid to travel because I'm fat. Have you run into that when you talk to clients, and like, are people concerned about that?
Yes. So, and it is something to be concerned about because it's not the average trip, depending on what size you are. And there are some airlines who will require you to purchase 2 seats. I remember the first time that happened to me. I was a teacher at the time, and I was going to a teacher conference in Washington, D.C. And I showed up, and someone pulled me to the side and said, "We need you to purchase another ticket." And I was like, "What?" Because as you know, teachers are underpaid. And what they said was you have to purchase a second seat. If when you get to the gate, there's an open seat on the plane, then you can apply for a refund. But if there's not an extra seat, then they keep the money. And I was going to have to buy the ticket at regular price, the price that you get when you show up day of to purchase a ticket.
No way. So that would be like, yes. What? That's like an arm and a leg, because they always overcharge you at the gate.
Yes.
Was it clear when you were booking? Was it clear at all, the size restriction? So it was just like a surprise.
Yes. So of course I start tearing up because I'm sensitive like that. And they ended up I said, how about if I get to the gate? I'm like, I'm a teacher. I don't have that kind of money. If we get to the gate and I need to purchase an extra ticket, how about I purchase an extra ticket at the gate? And so they agreed, and they let me go on without having to purchase an extra ticket. On the way home, no one mentioned it to me at all.
Wait.
So I don't. Yes.
Wait, hold on. So
Same airline. And on my way home, no one said anything about you need to purchase another seat. Because I probably lost 50 pounds in the weekend that I was in Washington, D.C., right?
Oh, yeah, of course. That makes total physical sense. So, yes. Wait, so like the first time someone stops you and the second time they just let you go.
Yes.
That's really messed up, because how would we know? If it's a rule, it's a rule. If it's not a rule, then it's not, right?
Correct. Yes. And I understand both sides of it. You know, folks smaller don't want somebody spilling over into their seat, and I spill over. But at the same time, to pay for a whole extra seat is also very difficult. And I would say also not very inclusive, when you're looking at the fact that, I'm still one person, even though I'm a larger person.
I think about myself as a traveler because I am big. And that's fine. But then I do often think about, can I find a way to bump myself up into a bigger seat? Because then that way I don't feel like I'm inconveniencing people around me. Because there is this thing where I settle in and I go arms in, because I don't want to like make someone else feel bad or like my thighs pressed up against them. So if I could, I would. But then like the airlines and what they charge between economy and business sometimes I don't get it. It's not like you get 3 times the seat, but it could be like thrice the price. So
yes. And I will say I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, I'm here.
We are so different.
You cannot sit next to me. The choice is yours, especially if I'm on Southwest Airlines, where it's open seating. I'm like, And I will, if I don't get on early, I'll pay the $25 to get on early. But sometimes sometimes I'm racing to get to the airport.
Yeah.
If I don't get on early, I'm getting in that first middle seat I get to. Because if I'm gonna be in the middle seat, I want to be in the middle seat in the front instead of a middle seat in the back. So you have a choice as to whether you stay here next to me or not. But I'm squeezing myself right in here. And usually if I sit down first, I lift up the armrest. People will come and put the armrest down, and I spill right on top of that armrest. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be comfortable, because oftentimes it's someone who's very thin, who has plenty of room, but it's just like, I don't want you touching, and I don't want to touch anybody either. I'm borderline germaphobe. It's not about the germs to me, but I don't want to touch anyone either.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to get on this plane, and I paid for just like you did.
It's so interesting. And I'm like the difference in our attitude, because you're like, I'm here, like, handle it. Whereas I'm like, let me please. And I suspect, because we've talked about this before, it might have something to do with our upbringing. Because I, ever since I could remember, was told, you are fat and that is not okay. And then my mom would do things like, oh, Jennifer, you got so fat. Like, let's not, like, you're going to embarrass me, basically. So it was a lot of shame. So then I just feel like my existence is like a problem. And then I would literally go around apologizing for the way I am. And that is how I was brought up. So then it makes sense that even now, like, that mechanism, it's hard for me to go and be like, all right, I'm here. And I'm like, oh no. So yeah, so that's my upbringing. That's my background. Why I think I'm like that. Why do you think you're like that?
Well, and my background was exact opposite. My grandmother always told me I was beautiful, period. And I really started gaining weight at the end of middle school. So around 9th grade is when my mom was going on a diet. It was right when Oprah Winfrey had done this big reveal where she had been taking these shakes and got into these jeans. And so my mom's like, I want to do the shakes. Do it with me. I said, okay. That was about 170 pounds.
You were 130 pounds.
170.
170 pounds. Yeah. And I was thinking, is that the one where Oprah comes out with a wheelbarrow of fat?
I don't know. I don't remember if that was, but it might have been.
Ugh.
It was around the same time period for sure.
But isn't that just like so just like makes us hate fatness? But anyway, I don't want to get distracted. So you were in 9th grade, you said, or 7th grade?
Yes, 9th grade.
9th grade.
And I'm not very tall. I used to be tall. All through elementary school, I was tall.
Be tall.
I used to be tall.
You shrink?
No. I just stopped growing, and everybody else kept growing. So, like, all through elementary school, I'm in the back row of my pictures. I'm the tall person. Anyways, I stopped growing at about 5th grade, and everybody else kept growing. So I was probably still about 5'3". I'm 5'3 3/4 now, and 170 pounds, which is thick, but not too fat. And so my mom's like, I'm going to go on this diet. I want you to go on this diet with me. I said, okay, great. I'll do it. At the end of the diet, I was 174 pounds.
How does that work? How does that work? Like,
I'm telling you, when you're only supposed to drink a shake for breakfast and a shake for lunch, suddenly you crave everything in the refrigerator. I was eating peanut butter by the tablespoon. I've never done that before in my life. I've never done it since then. But during that time in my life, I had to have a scoop of peanut butter multiple times in a day. So that was my first time going on a diet. But even with that, like, there was never any shame in my household about being overweight. But a lot of the women in our family and men are overweight. And I would love to lose weight. Like, I'm not going to say I'm perfectly fine with my weight. I'm not. Listen, first of all, clothes are cheaper when you're slimmer. Well, you have less of it. When I'm traveling and I have my suitcases, like, my clothes are heavier. Well, so there's
oh no,
that are just
Sorry, I was like, there's so much of what you were saying, especially about, like, I just think about, people don't often know this. Like, I know our society is very much awake, at least surfacely, on class privilege and race privilege, but people don't often know or think about the privileges that come with a certain body. because the body encompasses everything. So I also even think like fat, like the issue of fat is like it's a feminist issue. It's like a equality thing.
I don't know, but I would say it is an issue of poverty
Yes,
in America.
That's what I wanted to say was I think it's like an access thing a lot. So like people who are richer have more access to, better this support, blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah. But when it comes to, like, when I look at poverty, there were times when I made $5.09 an hour and raising 2 children. So, like, what are we going to eat at that price? And there are always people who say, oh, like, there's ways. But it's also when you're working hard to just take care of your children, you're not able to go and find ways to be able to eat healthy and cheap. So, there's a hot and ready. There's a Little Caesars pizza I can get for $5, which is enough to feed all 3 of us.
Yeah.
Or I can go and try to find something healthy to eat. But, if I'm going to put together a whole meal and we're not going to eat just a bowl of greens, like it's going to cost more money. What's going to keep you fuller longer?
Yeah.
Like if I eat that hot and ready, it can last me the rest of the night. I can eat it at noon and probably not have to eat again for the rest of the night. Whereas if I go and have a salad, my body's going to digest that and I'm going to be hungry again.
Remember that somewhat infuriating post that Gwyneth Paltrow did a while back where she was proving a point where she could eat healthy on an EBT budget?
I did hear about that.
And, it is so...
Because the other part of that problem is the food deserts, which I can go on a tangent about this, but, growing up in South Central Los Angeles, our grocery stores didn't have the best produce. But if I go downtown LA to where there's a Ralph's Fresh Fair, I'm like, oh, this is different from what I'm accustomed to seeing in the grocery store.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she also didn't come to South Central Los Angeles and swipe that EBT card.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I mean, what I wanted to bring up was that people don't realize that there's a lot more that goes into this than just like, you don't have discipline, you're fat, blah, blah. It's not, it's like, there's so many things. Like our bodies are such like, it's like, it's like our bodies don't even belong to us, right? Like the access, like you said, clothing, like whether or not you can travel because your size could limit your budget. So there's so many layers to that people don't think about when they're not in a fat body. But anyway, what are some struggles aside from like we know that the extra, like we might not like the extra seat that we need to get. Like what are some things that we may not think about when we're like getting ready to travel and when we might be bigger?
Yeah. So one big challenge is if you happen to leave something at home that you need for your trip. So
that's my worst nightmare.
Yes. I was going to England for spring break. I was going to fly into London, took a train to Cardiff, Wales, take a train to Liverpool, took a ferry over to Belfast, Northern Ireland, take a ferry back to Scotland, and take a train back to London. And I forgot my jacket because it's 78 degrees in Los Angeles and I left my jacket. So I'm already on my trip. I'm in Atlanta and my next flight is from Atlanta to London. And I'm like, where am I going to get a coat?
Wait, it's a coat?
It's 30 degrees and it was 30 degrees in the UK. 78 degrees in LA when I got on the plane and forgot my jacket at home. And now I've got to figure out where I'm gonna get a jacket. But luckily I was in Atlanta. So I looked up Burlington Coat Factory. Well, Burlington Coat Factory is no longer Burlington Coat Factory, it's Burlington. So I get there and they're like, I don't think we have any coats. It's April. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to the UK and I need a coat.
Yeah.
So he said, maybe we have 1 or 2 on the clearance rack. Luckily, there were 2. And I was able to purchase one. It was a red one and then a black and white one that I could actually fit. And I scored. But I'd hate to think what would have happened if I had gotten on that plane already and I was trying to find a coat in the UK that would fit me.
Well, yeah, I think about that and how, for me, like, I know if I lose my luggage, I am screwed because I am a size 20, 22, depending on the brand. And what country caters to that? Like England sometimes they used to have more, but England sometimes, but like maybe Australia, but like where else? I go to Japan, my luggage doesn't come. I'm gonna be wearing the same outfit for the entire time I'm there. So has that ever happened to you or one of your clients where they lose their luggage and it's like,
Yes. So this April, I guess April's the time for things to happen, right? But
yeah.
this April I was going on a cruise to Bermuda. And my flight from Las Vegas to Boston, where the port was leaving, where the boat was leaving from, my flight got canceled twice. I ended up on a flight that I ended up on the flight. My bag did not make it to the flight. So it stayed in Las Vegas when I went to Boston. I changed planes in Washington, D.C., so it wasn't a nonstop flight either. So when I get there, I get the text message saying your bag didn't make the flight. It'll be on the next flight, and it'll be here at 10 p.m. Well, I'm getting on a boat, and the boat is leaving around 3 p.m. I go to baggage, and this is the only time in my life where I did not have a carry-on.
Oh, no!
It is the only... I'm telling you, even if I have my laptop bag, I'll have about 3 pair of underwear in there and, a couple of dresses that I can roll up really small and put underneath my laptop. It's the one time I didn't bring anything except my laptop. And my bag is in Las Vegas. So I go to the baggage claim guy and he's like, we'll PayPal you $150 so you can buy some stuff.
What is that? Well, PayPal, what is that going to buy you? Like a pair of jeans?
I said, okay, one bra for me is about $50. So now I got about $100 left. Mm-hmm. I said, I don't even have a suitcase to put the stuff in. But he did give me a suitcase. So brand new suitcase, tag still on it. Okay, great. And I called one of my friends who also is, in the travel industry with me. Mm-hmm. Slightly plus size, maybe like a 12, 14.
Oh, but slightly plus size.
She might barely make the cutoff.
Yeah.
But so she said, I got you. And so like I'm crying. I'm a crybaby, so I'm crying. I don't have any luggage. I'm about to go on this cruise. But it's gonna be 2 days before we even dock.
What?
So they said they're going to ship my bag to Bermuda. On another airline because the airline I was on didn't go to Bermuda. Mm-hmm. And they were like, it'll be there when you get there. Okay. So my friend goes shopping for me. Luckily, she's got it. She's like, text me your sizes. I had to text her my underwear size. We were not that close prior, but I'm like, oh, we family now. Have you had to send somebody the size of your bra and panties? Oh, we family. But she was able to go shopping for me. She hooked me up. I mean, stuff that I will still wear. Like when you get the backup clothes, sometimes you're like, I'm never wearing that again. I'm gonna wear it for today because I need something. She hooked me up. Great stuff.
Like I would be screwed because I don't have and also it's like you also need to have a friend who actually knows where to buy plus size clothes. Because guess what, everybody? They don't exist everywhere. I mean, it's annoying to lose your luggage anytime when you're traveling, but I would wager it's way worse when you're fat.
Yes.
And I remember we talked about this too. The other thing when we were chatting before about how one thing we don't think about is the weight of clothing. When we pack, when you bigger clothing has more fabric, so we actually get dinged. Or we can bring less things.
And it's very expensive. And airlines like Spirit and Frontier, they only give you 40 pounds now. They don't even give you the 50 pounds that most airlines give you. And you have to pay extra. Like if you buy the bundle or whatever, you can get the extra 10 pounds.
Like, have you ever run into like people treating you differently because you're bigger?
So, I think that I've been in places where people are polite enough not to show that that's the thing.
Yeah.
I was in England and I broke a chair.
No.
At breakfast.
No. Oh.
Met a bed and breakfast. At this point, I maybe around 275 or so. And I'm in England. My best friend's graduating from college out there. She goes down and has breakfast while I'm showering. And then I come and I sit in the same seat. She was also plus size. I sat in the same seat she was in. And as soon as I sat down, splatter. This splatters. And
Splatter?
I'm on my
Oof. That is like,
I'm on the floor.
that is my literal worst nightmare.
And so I just laughed about it because, you know what? Also, it's probably something to do with age. You know, I'm 46 now, but even at that time, that was in 2003. So that was almost 20 years ago when that happened. But still, I'm just like, I just laughed it off. And the lady who worked there was mortified. But there was that. But I'm not the person who cares what other people, to a certain extent, you know, like, and I'll say that because I feel like I'm a person who doesn't care. But there are some times where I look at a picture and I'm like, oh, no. But then when I look at pictures and I see my arms are fat and, you know, I got the jiggle and I'm like, you know what, Kaleesha, if you're really tired of it, do something about it. If you don't want that to show in the picture, do something about it. Well, you know,
I'm all for it can show up in the picture and it's okay no matter what. That's what I'm all for.
Yeah. I am totally the person who will, like, I'm like, it's a horrible picture. So what? That's my before. There's an after coming somewhere where I'm gonna be cute.
Here's where I'm different. I don't need an after. Because today, I remember I was at the gym talking to like a trainer, and then we were talking, and I jokingly was like, "Oh, I'm gonna grow my butt." She's like, "Do you want to do before and after pictures?" I'm like, "No, I'm not about that. I don't need to do the whole like, look at me before, look at me now. My body is not for building worth. My strength is for me. My strength is for my mobility. It's not even about like." I don't even want that. I don't even want that as an option. I don't even want that temptation to like to be like, okay, I get to validate. Hey guys, look at nope. And she got it and she was like, okay, we'll just measure how much stronger you get. I'm like, perfect. I don't want the before, I don't want the after. We have now. That's all we have. So anyway.
And that is so empowering. And for me, it's more about looking at that progress. But like this, like when I took my picture this morning, for example, I recorded a video. It didn't matter how bad I looked. I had something to say. So on Facebook, just responding to a post of mine. So I recorded a video and I was like, I'm trying my best not to look like what I've been through. But today I look like what I've been through. I'm tired. I was tired. I was exhausted. I look tired. And so then when I put on my makeup, I was like, oh, no longer look like I've been through, you know? And so once I just, you know, colored in my eyebrows a little bit. I don't put on a whole lot of makeup, but I colored my eyebrows. I put on some stuff on my mascara. I got about 2 gray lashes and some lipstick, and I was like, and I'm good to go.
See, I think what you said, it's very interesting to slow down and look at that because it's not, my theory and my hope is that it's not so much that like we look better because beauty, the whole concept of beauty is a mirage. Like what we think is beautiful is not beautiful 50 years ago and is definitely not beautiful in a different country. So let's just pause right there. But I think it's more, I feel good. So like once we know we feel good, the whole attitude changes. I remember I put on this dress and I'm like, I feel pretty. And I was walking around going, guys, look at this. And I was like, who's this girl? Hey. But it's like, if we do things like that for ourselves, we feel better. And
yeah. And it, for me, it really is like getting my hair washed and, you know, I'm just like, oh, I feel so much better. And, you know, it can be, I've been tired and like, and then I take a shower and I feel refreshed and I feel like everything looks different. My face looks different. My eyes look different. I look like I had a nap.
I don't look like I've been through my life.
I look like I've been through hell today, you know? And really, I haven't been through hell. I've just been busy. I love to be busy. But I was like, I was sitting in the car. I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm like, but get it together because you got stuff to do.
Wow. Oh, there was one thing I was going to ask you too. Like, for people who maybe, like, for people who are like, oh, I don't know if I want to travel because I'm overweight. Like, how, or I'm afraid people are going to like stare at me or get upset with me on an airplane. How would you encourage them?
Well, we only have one life to live. And like, I would hope that we're not so concerned with what someone else is going to think that we prohibit ourselves from experiencing life. One of the things that I tell folks all the time is when I travel, I feel like I add years onto my life because I get to rest and relax in a way that I don't normally. So I won't live my life wondering what somebody's thinking about me. I'm going to live my life to enjoy my life. I have my 50-50-50 goal to visit all 50 states and 50 countries before I turn 50. I'm at 40 states and 26 countries. I have 24 more countries to do in the next 3 years, and I'm on a mission to make it. And I'm not letting anybody stand in my way.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there because I know a lot of people, and I've heard stories about this where people literally stop living their lives because of their body and what they think is. I was one of them, and I definitely was one of them. I mean, I skipped out on high school reunions because I was afraid I'd show up and people would be like, "What is wrong with you?" Like I stopped myself because I was afraid of what people would say. And honestly, it's really a choice that we get to make. Like, do we decide to be like, hey, like you said, I'm going to live the life I want. So I'm going to go travel. I'm going to pursue these things. I'm going to put on a freaking bikini and be like, whatever, suckers. Or am I going to cater and organize myself to please everybody around me, knowing that they will never be pleased?
And now I've become on a mission to make people think differently as well. Because, like, I used to be the person to be like, she shouldn't be wearing that. My grandmother did that. My grandmother did do that to me a little bit. She's like, not about me, but about other folks. That person, she shouldn't wear red. She looked like a big old stop sign. And so I was always afraid to wear red. Yeah. I was afraid to wear red. And then when I got to high school, I was like, I love red and I look good in red and I'm wearing red everything. And so, like, let people be comfortable. Let them be whatever it is that they want to wear. Because you know what, as we see like suicide rates increasing because somebody didn't feel comfortable and they cared more about what somebody else thought about them than how they felt themselves. And I want to say that, it was surprising to me to hear you talk about being insecure about your weight. First of all, when I met you, you were nothing I would think was overweight at all.
No.
And yeah, and then you had injured yourself or something, and then I saw you gaining weight, like I saw that. But it was so empowering to see you like still get up and put on costumes and go and run races, and like you empowered me so much on things like you put on a tutu, and I was like, "What? Look at Jen!" And you take these pictures, all these actually, you're like jumping in the air and doing these things and acrobatics galore, and I'm like, yes. Like, I felt so empowered by that. And I was like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Oh, yeah. And when you do stuff like that, you give other people the power to do it themselves, too. They're like, if she can do this, I can do this. And I'm always that person who's like, hey, I'm going to steal that idea and I'm going to do this thing, too. And so I really appreciate you being free to be that person, to dress up in costumes. And you were doing like 5Ks and 10Ks and half marathons and all the things. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, and it was probably that, and I'm not 100% certain, but it was probably that helped me to start do 5Ks.
Really?
I've done maybe like 2, but it was that I would get up in the morning when I lived in Sacramento. I'd get up at like 5 in the morning and I'd walk a 5K around my neighborhood all the time, every day.
That's really awesome.
But to actually get to a race, I'm like, Jen can do it, I can do it. And so, yeah, it is empowering. You empower people to dream where they've stopped dreaming. And so whether it's modeling, whether it's I've always wanted to play tennis, whether it's I always wanted to start a blog or I always wanted to start a podcast, I've always wanted to, they'll start to fill in that blank and do that thing that they've always wanted to do.
That's really great. I think, we got to play big. We have one little itty bitty tiny life on this earth. And so often we forget our time is really limited and we let things get in our way. And it's not our fault.
Yes.
It's like we get trained in this way. So let's what is it? Let's free ourselves. Go jump off cliffs safely, please. Like go jump off safely, under supervision. But like do that thing. And then Yeah, and if that's anything I learned, I know a lot of people say this, but it was huge for me. Like in the middle of the pandemic, I really realized, and like I know we always talk about, oh, you don't know what is going to happen in your life. Yeah, but we don't live like that. We live as if we know
Yeah,
exactly what's going to happen tomorrow, and then until
it's
right,
true.
we're like, oh yeah, tomorrow something will go up. This is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, until the pandemic came in, and we were like, oh. We don't know what's gonna happen. And then now like kind of woke us up, but also now I think we're starting to get back to sleep again. But like it, like
Yeah,
hello, we actually don't know what's gonna happen. So that thing that
yeah. And now there's monkeypox, so there's that.
so let's not stop ourselves because of our size or
Yeah,
whatever other reason. So yeah, go travel. In fact, call
yeah.
Kaleesha and have her book your travel. Yeah.
Yes,
Uh-oh.
yes.
Okay, so we have a guest. This is my dog. She
Gorgeous.
she was actually on the table while we were talking. Oh my goodness. Yuki. Okay, she does not have any body issues, of course. Anyway, so yeah. Thank you thank you so much for coming on and spending the time with me to talk about travel and body empowerment. And I just really hope that people listening will feel
Yes,
inspired to do the things they've always wanted to do. And
yes.
if you want to reach Kaleesha, where can they find you?
You can find me on you can find me on a lot of platforms, but you can start at yourtravelbff.com. On my website, it will connect you to all of my other social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. So I'm everywhere, but yourtravelbff.com. My email is kw@yourtravelbff.com.
Cool.
And
That's
yeah,
where we can
very
reach you.
easy.
And then I'll definitely, for sure, if people are interested, you can always go to fatperspective.com. That's the podcast show website. And then you can request to be connected with Kaleesha, and I'll definitely do that for you. And then the other thing is, I
Thank you.
believe very strongly that stories are going to be what change the world. Like us sharing our stories, us talking about our experiences, and also being powerful listeners for one another. So people listening, if you have like a travel story or a story about your body or what happened to you that you wanted to share about, being fat or being thin or being tall, whatever, please go to afatperspective.com. I know. And share your story because we want to hear. And I believe by listening, that's how things will change. So
Yes.
thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure talking to you.